Audrey coming in the door, coming down the stairs. Say hi, Audrey.
Hi, Mommy. Hi, Audrey.
Where's Lauren? We don't see where Lauren is.
She's outside. She's almost coming in.
Here she is. Here's Lauren coming in, and she's closing the door. And now she's going to come down the stairs. Say hi, Lauren-y.
What's in your mouth, kiddo?
Let's take a close-up look of Lauren. Here she is, coming down the stairs. There she is. There's our Lauren-y. Wave to the camera, Lauren. Okay, Palmer, say, I'm eating peaches because I love to eat. I'm a big-time eater boy. Nummy, nummy, nummy. Nummy boy. Okay, now I'm going to take a drink. I'm thirsty, kid. Look up there. Look at the light blinking. Look up there. Palmer.
Hey,
Daddy.
Palmer.
Where's Daddy?
Palmer.
Smile. Say hi, Dad. Tickle, tickle, tickle with your feet. Tickle, 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 tickle.
Let's put the movie on. Okay, then we can.
Hi.
Why don't you tell what's your whole name? Say what your whole name is. Look at the camera so you can be on TV. Where's the camera?
Lauren, come back here and sing a song.
No.
Can you
You
sing?
said the little string?
No.
No, have her sing the temple song.
I love to see the temple. What do you want to do, Lauren? You do whatever you want to do.
She doesn't want to do anything.
Hey, Audrey, you sing. You sing I love to see the temple.
I love to see the temple. I'm going there someday to feel the Holy Spirit, to listen and to pray. For the temple is a house of God, a place of love and beauty. I'll prepare myself while I am young. This is my sacred duty.
Good job.
My name is Audrey Susan Edholm, and I like Ammon and Nephi in the scriptures.
Wow.
And
Okay,
what book are you reading right now? What book does Mom read to you right now that you like?
This is Pigawega.
Who is she?
She's a woman who helps kids when they go to bed, when they're in a bully and stuff.
Wow.
Oh, look at Lauren.
This is going to be great.
Yeah, it is.
To be somebody from the Book of Mormon. Who is it, Audrey?
Nephi.
What's Nephi doing?
He's building a ship.
You're right. He's building a ship. Okay, now sing for us, Audrey. Sing your favorite song.
Pioneer children sang as they walked and walked and walked and walked. Pioneer children sang as they walked and walked and walked and walked. They washed in streams and worked and played. Sundays they camped and read and played. Read and prayed week after week. They sang as they walked and walked and walked and walked and walked and walked.
That's enough walks.
And walked.
Lauren got a haircut just a little while ago. It's cute, huh, Lauren? Oh, Lauren's giving Mommy a hug. And what's Daddy and Palmer Boy doing over there?
Just eating.
They're eating because they love to. Look at Palmer Boy. He has juice dripping all the way down his little tiny face. Audrey, please don't do that. He's got dribbling and dribbling and drooling. Yeah, and he's just drooling. Got a great close-up of Palmer's drooling face. He's a drooler boy. And there's our Audrey. There's our kitchen. And this is our living room. There's the TV over there, and there's the front door with the stairs and everything. It's our wonderful little house.
So get up and walk around and do a whole
So
tour of our whole
here we
place.
go. We're walking into the kitchen.
Turn the lights on. Right?
And here's the sink full of dirty dishes. And there's the fridge and the stove.
We never have dirty dishes.
We never have dirty dishes. And here's our table over here with Daddy feeding the Palmer boy. And there's our couch that's not ours. There's the window looking outside across the street. Here we are walking and walking. Here's a closet door. This is a bathroom. Come in here. Here's the washer and dryer. There's a mirror. There's the toilet.
Mommy,
There's a Lauren.
tonight I'll just bath.
Okay, now we're going up the stairs. Here's the front door. Then we're going to go around the corner, up the stairs. There's the bookcase. And our books. Our picture, there's the furnace room. Here's the other bathroom. Sink. Shower. Here we go, out of the bathroom. There's a closet. Here's Audrey and Lauren and Palmer's room. Let's see if we can get some close-ups of their toys. Here's Audrey, don't walk in front so I can see it. There's a Barbie doll. And there's some Palmer's toys and their books and stuffed animals. There's their dresser, which has clothes on it that I haven't put up yet. And there's a doll. And over this way is Palmer's bed. Thank you. And their picture of Jesus and their dolls. Here's their closet. Audrey, don't please. There's their closet and their dollhouse and their toys. Here's all their clothes. And there's their closet. Now we're going to walk into Mommy and Daddy's room. There's Mommy and Daddy's room. And there's our bed. There's the desk with the computer on it. There's the harp in the corner. Our dresser. Oh, that was just beautiful. Now we're walking down the hall again. Here's looking down the stairs. Here we come down the stairs. Now we're going to open the door and look out the front door here. Here's our garden. Okay, here's our garden. Let me just see if I can find the pumpkin. There's a pumpkin in here somewhere. Let's see if I can move it. There it is. There's our pumpkin. And these are our tomato plants. And there's Daddy's rhubarb back here. His favorite thing in the whole world is his rhubarb. And there's our tomatoes. They're not red yet. Here's some flowers, and there's a bean plant over here. And some
That's
fennel
mine.
over here that didn't work very well. Here's our carport, and there's our car. And there's toys in there, some slides and their bikes, and there's our car, and there's our neighbor's house. There's our window, the upstairs window, our chairs on the porch, and here's our front door.
That's in a movie now.
Number 83 is where we live.
I love to see the temple.
Audrey,
You can talk, girls. Audrey, you can talk. Hi. You'll get me?
Okay.
What you doing, Lauren? Huh? Cover it up and lay down. Our baby's tired.
No, I'm tired.
You're tired.
Yep.
Can you pretend you're a baby girl?
Yeah.
It's jerky in here now. What's gain up?
There he goes. There he goes. Good job.
What can
Jerky.
we do?
No.
Okay, he's walking. Okay, go see Dad.
Come here, Palmer. Whoa. You get so excited.
Mommy, after the four toys, let's go visit someone.
What you trying to do, boy?
Mommy. Today is November 4th, 2000. Now we done. Hey, I'm a baby. Oh, what are you doing? I'm going to. I'm gonna bury water. Here it is. This is 461.
Emma, turn around and see the camera. Say hi.
Hi. Hi.
You say hi. Say hi, Mama.
This is 461 West, 165 South, Orem, Utah. Well, we're gonna play. Lauren, do you
Faster.
I'm going there. Papa,
Palmer, look over here.
see what Jesus said.
Palmer, look at the camera.
Get a little letter that's written all by me. I'll tell him about my doggy. Time to sleep on the floor. My face and no one will like him. So please don't slam the door. Hi, anyone?
Good job.
Oh! What should we do? It's fun. The end.
Palmer.
Goodbye. Bye.
Palmer, come here and say something to the camera. Say, hi, my name's Palmer.
Hi, my name's Paula.
How old are you? Wow. Are you a big boy?
And that's me.
Want to say anything else, Palmer?
No. We're going to find a tree, Mom. No, we have to.
Okay, you can go climb the tree? Okay. There's Audrey and Palmer in the tree. There's Emma. Here comes Lauren.
Mom, look for dinner. Mama.
Get up there, Lauren.
Mama. How about me? There's a big pile of leaves over there.
Okay, I'm going to close up on Palmer, Audrey, Lauren. Where's Emma?
I'm standing up, and I'm Audrey. That is...
Emma, look at the camera.
Hey!
Emma, look at the camera.
Ah!
Hi, Emma.
Move, Audrey. Move, Audrey. Yeah. It's July 18th.
2001.
2001? It did not work. It's not. Mommy!
Hi, Emma.
Look at me! Look at me! Hi! Hi! Who's me? Who's me?
Hi, Andrew. How are you, chubby boy? There's a good smile. Hi, sweetheart.
Mom, can I do it?
Okay, Lauren, show us your arm. Okay, tell us what happened.
No, never. She fell out of the tree. No, you cannot. She did too. And I got this from my grandma, from my mom's mom. My grandma.
Okay, here's our beautiful garden over here. There's the corn and the tomatoes.
Mom, take a picture of my... And there's a beautiful statue named
And over there is carrots and some watermelon.
Mom, take a picture of this. Mommy, is it my turn yet? Mom, can I look through it?
Come closer. Come stand by Emma. Okay.
What do you have to say, Palmer?
Say, my name is Palmer. My name is Palmer. I love Daniel.
You love
and
Daddy.
I work in a button factory. And I work in a button factory. Mom, my name is Paula and I work in a button factory. And one day I said, and I said, please say something with your tongue. Oh, sorry. Can I go back? I want to do a camp.
Good job, Palmer.
Daddy, we're gonna have a camp out. Daddy, we're gonna have a camp out. Did you do it? Did you see me do it,
I
Dad?
didn't.
Palmer, do a somersault.
No, it wasn't a somersault when I work in the button factory. Ah.
Yeah.
My turn.
I got it, Palmer.
You saw it? You saw it?
Yep, I saw it.
Mickey.
Emma, tell Daddy what's scary for you.
But the cookies are scary.
What are the cookies scary for you?
Palmer. Palmer.
What?
Don't do that.
I'm scraping I'm scraping my.
Okay, Lauren, I'm getting you.
Watch me do a cartwheel. Oh. Watch me do a cartwheel.
Emma, come here. Come sing this song.
Ow. Here comes the ride. Oh, that's the ride. Oh, that's the ride. We're ready room. In the waiting room. What you doing there?
Palmer.
Baby, that's the bed. That sound drum. He's acting drum.
High five. Woohoo!
I'm gonna say, here comes the bride. It's supposed to be a place. A big fat smile went up the wall. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun.
I am an old delight.
And the easy weensy spider went up the spout again.
Oh, never mind. I'm an old lady. Never mind. Okay.
Okay.
Here comes the bride. Yes, right. Where is the groom? He's in the lady room.
What's he doing now? Playing with the band. That sounds some. He starts dancing.
Dad.
My name is Look, let Andrew be in.
You guys want to do it with them?
One day she said, hey, Andrew,
Are you busy? I said no.
And push this button with your right finger. Push. My name is Lois, and I work in a button factory. I have a button meter by the year. One day he said, hey, look, are you busy? I said, no. Then push the button with your left finger. Push. My name is Flo, and I work in a button factory. I have a button just a meter by the year. Push. One day he said, hey, Flo, are you busy? I said, no. Then push this button with your right toe. My name is Flo, and I work in a button factory. I have a bus who just goes meter by the year. Push. One day he said, hey Flo, are you busy? I said no. Then push this button with your left toe. My name is Flo, and I work in a button factory. I have a bus who just goes meter by the year. Push. One day he said, hey Flo, are you busy? I said no. Then push this button with your tongue.
No, what do you tell me? No, what do you tell me?
What about the back?
No, what do you tell me?
Push one day he said, hey Flo, are you busy? I said yes. Say hello, Dad. Hello.
Andrew, look up here.
Say hello, Daddy. Where's Daddy, Andrew? Look at Dad. Where's Daddy?
And he's in a mirror.
My name is Flo, and I work in a button factory. One day someone said, huh?
Palmer, I'm getting Andrew, Kay. Don't get in the way.
Anyone has.
Here, he's gonna crawl to Dad. Crawl to Dad, Andrew. You want to crawl?
Hello, 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 hello. I love this.
There he goes. There he goes.
Mom, where's the other
Come here, Andrew.
Look. Where's the other chair for me? Why?
He's going for the hole.
Move the hole.
Mama, it's not a hole. Mom.
Yes, it is.
It's true.
Ooh, now he's on the cement.
Never mind, I'm going back.
Now I want to do it. Now I can do it. Now I can do it.
Who are you looking at?
Oh, here's the rest of them, Daddy.
You got a two-wheeler. I did? Yes. A two-wheeler.
Emma.
God!
Audrey, you got oh my god.
I got Harry Potter, but
Audrey, look what I got.
What's that?
Oh, knee pads.
That's yours. All of yours is right there on the bike, Palmer.
And look, this is mine.
Yes.
Let's look. Let's look.
oh, I got a toothbrush.
Mommy.
That goes with your rollerblades.
Toothbrush.
And what else is in there?
And an orange.
Mom thinks that's just Daddy's and Mommy's.
I got
Mommy, where's my stocking?
Look what I got. I got a toothbrush and an orange.
Mommy, what are these?
Look.
Your knee pads.
Oh,
Mommy.
just one thing left, of course. And
Audrey,
I know.
Are you
I got
excited?
Harry Potter.
are you excited?
Yes.
Must be Pablo.
That's yours.
This?
Yours, yeah. Lauren.
Look
at these.
I got
Two. I want to try mine on.
But I know how to rollerblade. The first time I tried, I did it.
Yeah, good job, Palmer.
Mommy? What's this?
What's on your seat, Palmer?
I don't know what it is.
No, on top of your seat.
A flag and toadstoolie. And what's this for? It's mine. Look, I got this. And knee pads. I got knee pads too. And I got hand pads too. Almost. I got those too, but those they're kind of different. I got
Andrew's getting stuff under the tree.
those too. Those too.
Andrew's nuts. Wait, we got a new sock. What's in your sock, Andrew? Look.
See?
What does Andrew have in his sock?
You want to
Guys, look what Andrew got in his sock.
Lauren, look, I got one on. Oh, you guys look up here. Who is that?
That's the 12th day of Christmas.
It is.
Oh,
I don't get it now.
Oh, cool.
Can you think this?
I think what Lauren got that fits those art trees. It's pretty cool. Whoa.
Palmer, what do you think about your bike?
It's a two-wheeler. I like it. You know?
Mommy, can you open this? I'm trying to get my knee pads and arm and elbow pads out. I'm so glad I got those Harry Potter.
Yeah. Having socks on.
Run and get some socks, Lauren.
I'll try to
Yeah.
get the cone.
Mommy, you never let me go any place.
Are these just knee pads?
Joel?
Knee pads and elbow pads.
Yep.
Oh, I only see.
Knee pads and elbow.
And when you're going...
Frank, get Andrew to look at me.
Andy! He keeps coming after food.
He likes to eat.
You're just a regular guy, aren't you? She's pedaling faster. Oh.
I'd like to introduce you. I'd like to invite you to the prince and the dragon. Emma, come on. Thank you for coming to our play. Welcome to our play. The weirdest Halloween night I ever seen. Let's stop at this house. Okay. Boo! Uh-oh. No, you guys kind of freaks like trick or treat. Trick or treat. Emma, sit down. Sit down, quiet. Okay, let's hurry and grab some candy and go home. Hi, Mom. Hi. You like our jack-o'-lantern I got? Yeah. Stop! And thank you for coming to our play, the weirdest Halloween night I've ever saw. I've ever seen. Okay, sorry. Okay, back in the Halloween. Emma, did you like doing that? Did you like it? We have to clean up everything and watch it. Can I see? Mommy, can I see? Wow.
Hi, Dad. Hi, everyone. Hey, what's that? Is it on?
No.
Mom, come take a look by the tree. I'm going. No. himself.
Hi! Mom, do you get me? The wise man built his house on the rock. The wise man built his house on the rock.
The wise man built his house upon the rock. The wise man built his house upon the rock. The wise man built his house upon the rock. And the rain came tumbling down. The rain came down and the floods came up. The rain came down and the floods came up. The rain came down and the floods came up. And the house on the rock stood still.
Still.
And the foolish man built his house. Is there any way I could get through? The foolish man built his house
How's your mother said?
and the rain came tumbling down. The rains came down and the floods came up. The rains came down and the floods came up. I don't want to came up and the house
Don't touch that, Kate.
away.
What's that? What's that? What's that?
Yeah. Now watch. I'm gonna twin wheel really fast. I'm not gonna fall down. You know, he's being really crazy today, so you should leave.
Must be turning around now.
Now we are going to do the show of Candid Camera. Now we are going to be through the show of Candid Camera. Okay, here we go. Now we are going to do the show of Candid Camera. Audrey, look right over there. Look right over there. You're on Candid Camera. Hey, if you look right over there.
Yeah, see?
You're on Candid Camera.
And smile, you're on candid camera. See right there? See behind the wall right there?
Mom,
That's it.
wait,
See
see
that
that
camera?
camera? Hey, wait! Stop talking! There you go.
No hit, Andrew, no hit.
You do something.
Andrew, how old are you? How old are you?
Okay, time for me.
Everyone say how old you are. Lauren, how old are you?
7.5.
Audrey, how old are you?
9.5.
Palmer, how old are you?
5.5.
Emma, how old are you?
3,
And when's your birthday?
4.
I know, but how many weeks?
I don't know.
2.
2.
The hook got stuck. It got stuck in the nose. Ow!
Hey. My nose whipped.
Look right over there. Smile, because you're on Candid Camera.
Welcome to our play. Sometimes in this play, the superhero gets captured and he gets uncaptured. And sometimes the bad guys too.
see me, Mom? You see me, Mom? You see me? Got me. Your eye is in front of me. What are you doing, Mommy? Mommy, what are you doing with the camera? Please. Haven't found her yet. I thought you weren't looking for me. What, Mom? Okay. Now we're gonna what, Mom?
Okay. We are going to do the dances Ladybug Logo, Firefly and Dad Zero, and Spider Singing Song. And here is Emma Edholm with
Why do witches only ride their broomsticks after dark?
Why?
That's the time to go to sleep. What did the young witch say to her mother?
What?
May I have the key to the broom tonight? When is it bad luck to meet a cat?
When?
When you're a mouse. What happens when a black cat eats a lemon?
What?
It becomes sour. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Red.
Fred who?
I'm Red of Witches. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Philip.
Philip who?
Fill up my bag with candy.
That's so funny, Lauren.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Emma.
Emma who?
I'm afraid of ghosts too. Why is a witch like a candle?
Why?
They're both wicked. Nancy was at Jane's Halloween party. Suddenly it started to rain real hard. Jane asked Nancy if she would like to sleep over. Nancy said yes. Later Jane saw that Nancy was soaking wet. What happened, she asked. I went home to get my pajamas, the
there?
B.
B who?
B where tonight is Halloween. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Manuel.
Manuel who?
Manuel decided to go trick or treat. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Annie.
Annie who?
Anybody's home. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Philip.
Philip who?
Philip who? No, Philip and his dad was crazy. Why didn't the skeleton go trick or treating?
Why?
He had no body to go. Bloody body. The skeleton. Why is the skeleton favorite is going to instrument?
I don't know.
The trombone.
Not trombone. A bone.
left. Here we go.
I got. I got
Look what he left you. All those blue candy canes. Look, see what's in your stuff?
And what's in there? There's stuff in there. There's another present in there.
Here, look, get in your stuff. Reach in.
Oh.
You want to see what's in your stuff?
What's good, Em?
You can't get it out.
What is it?
I don't know. Something in my eye of the present trying to undo it.
Oh.
Why should I do it? Thank you. It's all worth it.
Precious?
Love, green, and green.
Yeah.
Didn't you give me two of those presents that went together? Well, what's this?
I don't know. Open it and see. It's from Vera.
What?
Look, Andrew, look.
You have a Audrey.
It's your card.
Audrey. And what?
Oh, what is it, Lauren?
Palmer, let's see your bionicle. What color is it? Wow.
This is too little to take a picture of me. Flying walnut. Finally, I have one. Sweater. I mean, a jacket. There's all these things in mine. Oh. Wish I had a one. Look what. Emma, what are you doing?
Pick up the walnut.
That's what Sarah gave us.
Smile, Mama. Mommy, smile. Is that from Vera?
It's too hard to chew. I love beef jerky. It's so good. Oh my God! And then we open wrapping. I love these.
So, Dad.
Whoa! These must be way.
You like orange?
Audrey.
No, I ornament to put on a shoe for
Yeah.
Mom, look what kind of shoe I got. I got an ornament. And this, I got an
That's a
ornament.
cool one.
I got these things.
What's that, Audrey?
Open it.
Finally.
I got
Wow.
this. A Santa blanket.
You like it?
Mommy, look
Yeah.
what she gave me.
Pretty, honey. Look, Andy hasn't opened his Santa gift. Look, Andy. This is from Santa.
Emma hasn't opened much either.
Let's open it.
Open your big...
Wait, are you sure that's yours?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I already got mine.
Was that the one?
Yeah. Okay, then that's not mine.
That is jeans. Andy has jeans.
These are the jackets you can wear to school. I love these. Mommy, these. I love these.
Look at your nose.
Bill, this one's too big.
Look at these, Jeremy.
What's that, Lauren? It's too big.
Yeah, but we can get the same thing different. You pull it up a little bit more.
More stuff. Look, Andy, look. This is from Audrey.
I got it! I got basic training manual. I got this detective stuff.
Palmer, cool.
I got Monsters.
How in the world?
Monsters. Yay!
Look what Audrey gave you. Look what Audrey
Look,
gave you.
I got Monsters.
And a penny. And this is
I opened all mine. What? Let me get Monsters. I opened all
yeah,
mine.
Palmer, that is so cool.
I opened all of mine.
Let's see, Palm. Is that what you wanted?
How you open this?
Okay, there.
Mom, do you know how to open this?
Look, it keeps falling out.
You got to eat
And I'll have a candy.
Let's see, Emma.
Show Dad.
Okay, what?
Hey, Emma, look at me. Let me take a picture.
What's this?
I'm gonna open my
Oh,
Hello
yeah,
Kitty. Good luck.
Right up, right there.
I only got
I only got one Hello Kitty.
Okay, I'll just show me your watch.
It's stuck to the bottom and it won't come out.
Palmer,
Let's see, Audrey.
hold up your bionicles.
Okay.
Come over.
Oh, my stuff! I like it!
Wow.
I like it!
Oh, you like
that?
There we go.
This is stuck and it won't come
Oh,
out.
well, be careful. Don't break it, honey. You can cut it.
How's it going, Andy?
Everybody,
You show me any... Wow, look at all the clothes you got. What do you like?
See?
Your socks.
And I got a movie! I got a movie!
A movie, and what is it, Emma? Strawberry shortcake. I had that when I was a little girl.
Can I see Emma? That's okay.
Wow.
I got it's the book too. It was with it too. Mom, how do I put this back on you? Mom, I got some books too, but I can't get it out. I can't get my books out.
I think you
Open.
can glue it back on, honey.
This is from Grandpa. He likes the detective flashlight. Yeah.
The batteries are...
Oh yeah.
Oh, and
Here's
here's
the other flashlight.
Okay, wait.
This is Eric, his first Christmas, 2003.
And look what you got in your sock.
What'd he get?
Andrew, this is your gun.
Oh.
This is your gun.
Oh.
Oh,
What?
wow. He
What's
got something.
Well, I like that thing. I want one of those.
Okay, we're trying to see Eric, and you're in the way, Kay.
And he got
Thank you.
lots of diapers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Should we open this?
Okay.
Here, you want to help open it, and Eric?
Who's that?
No.
Oh, thank you. Clothes.
Read it, Eric.
He got a jacket just like me.
Look, you guys can be twins.
Yay.
Look, your jacket's just like Palmer's.
And some jammies. And let's open this one.
Please don't be clothes. Oh, no.
Some jeans and 2 shirts.
He's smiling.
And look, this is to Eric from Audrey.
I'm sorry, Eric. I didn't make a present for you. No. Dad, they'll think he can suck on.
Wow.
There's something else in there too.
Oh, there's something else in here too.
It
Number
like
1
bacon.
brother.
It looks like
That is cute, Audrey. Is that it?
this thing looks like bacon.
Yay, Eric! What a good Christmas for you!
See if you can get him to smile for the camera.
Guys, go back so Daddy can see him.
Scoop Hogger, that includes you.
Eric,
What is it
he
really?
wants to eat it.
You're taking friends.
Okay, I'm gonna turn it off now.
No, wait.
Bye-bye, Dad. Bye-bye.
Don't have the right to say he can't talk to his children. He can do it any way he wants to, and if it is sending an angel or one commissioned to teach, so be it.
Joseph claimed to open the heavens not only as a translator, but also as a revelator. Many of these revelations were compiled in an additional volume of Scripture called the Doctrine and Covenants.
There were so many religious voices, and so there was this deep questioning, what could one believe? And I think that's where the voice of Joseph Smith did become a very certain trumpet, because Joseph Smith said, all these Protestant sects, they read the Bible and they come up with their own interpretation. What he said is that he had a new word from the Lord, a new kind of revelation, which was certain and sure. It was the miraculous intervention in modern times, just as Christ had come at the time of the New Testament.
On April 6, 1830, just weeks after the Book of Mormon went on sale in the Palmyra bookstore, Joseph formally organized a church. The 50 or so men and women in attendance at the Whitmer farm accepted him as a seer, a translator, a prophet of Jesus Christ. Church membership would jump from hundreds to thousands in the next few years as news of a restored religion and word of its doctrine spread.
I step forth into the field to tell you what the Lord is doing and what you must do to enjoy the smiles of your Savior in these last days. Joseph Smith.
The young church grew quickly. Missionaries headed east to the New England states, north to Canada, their satchels filled with copies of the Book of Mormon. Missions lasted weeks, months, and as the church grew, even years. A few were directed west to preach to the Indians. The missionaries found residents in Kirtland, Ohio, particularly receptive.
Thousands flocked about us daily, some to be taught, some for curiosity, some to obey the gospel, and some to dispute it or resist it. Harley P. Pratt.
The Spirit of the Lord sensibly attended the ministration, and I came out of the water rejoicing and singing praises to God and the Lamb. John Murdoch.
The church was not conceived as a means of simply spreading the word about the Book of Mormon. The new faith issued a call for all to come back to Christ. That position gave voice to new antagonism.
The greatest impostor of our times in the field of religion is no doubt a certain Joseph Smith. The past centuries have also had religious offshoots. They have all been absorbed in the sea of the past, and this will also be the lot of the Mormonites. And I hope, while it is still in the bud, Reverend Dietrich Willer.
Instead of dispersing, the church grew. In December 1830, Joseph pronounced what he said was a revelation from God that commanded the faithful as the latter-day hosts of Israel to gather in Kirtland, Ohio. At his call, a steady stream of church members from Fayette, Colesville, and Manchester, New York, packed up and moved west.
Gathered community, it is, I think, one of Joseph Smith's best ideas. But it's not intuitively obvious why. Particularly given the American landscape, it is a risk. The notion of bringing people together within a fixed boundary, to invent a sense of togetherness, to insist upon people coming to this community, coming to Kirtland. But it worked, and it worked in surprising ways.
Joseph arrived in Kirtland later that winter. Bundled inside the sleigh was Emma, 6 months pregnant. A few months later, twins Thaddeus and Louisa were born. They died at birth, as had Alvin, the Smiths' first son. Within weeks, Joseph and Emma had adopted twins Joseph and Julia Murdoch, whose mother had died in childbirth. Of the 9 children Emma bore, only 4 lived to maturity. Several years later, Hiram and his wife Jerusha also lost a little child.
We can, in some degree, sympathize with Hiram, but we all must be reconciled to our lots and say the will of the Lord be done. Joseph Smith.
Life was never easy for the Smiths. They rarely had a home of their own. Emma, when she did have a place, took in boarders to supplement their income.
Dear Joseph, I verily feel that if I had no more confidence in God than some I could name, I should be in a sad case indeed. But I still believe that if we humble ourselves and are as faithful as we can be, we shall be delivered from every snare that may be laid for our feet. Emma Smith.
In the next 15 years, thousands would change their lives, their professions, leave homes and even families to follow the prophet Joseph.
I cursed Mormonism in my heart and regretted being in possession of as much light and knowledge as had flowed into my mind from that source. I said, however, the Lord, He is God. I will embrace the truth. Reverend Orson Spencer.
They came, in every conceivable manner, some with horses, oxen, and vehicles rough and rude, while others had walked all or part of the distance. The future city of the saints appeared like one besieged. Every available house, shop, hut, or barn was filled to its utmost capacity. Even boxes were roughly extemporized and used for shelter until something more permanent could be secured. Geauga County Recorder.
They were asked to do something very special that was different, would take them out of their current way of life and actually leave and join a society in which they would become part of a community that had a life of its own, a community in which they would contribute something and, of course, receive something in return. So this was a big commitment. It wasn't a matter of just going to church, on Sunday and doing some good deeds now and then and contributing to the church. This made people put their lives on the line.
Brigham Young, who would succeed Joseph as head of the church, left his carpentry business in New York and joined Joseph in Kirtland.
My joy was full at the privilege of shaking the hand of the prophet of God and receiving the sure testimony by the spirit of prophecy that he was all that any man could believe him to be as a true prophet. Brigham Young.
When wagon loads of grown people and children came in from the country to Meeton, Joseph would make his way to as many of the wagons as he could and cordially shake hands with each person. Every child and young babe in the company was especially noticed by him. He loved innocence and purity. Louisa Y. Littlefield.
Joseph Smith taught as effectively as anything that men and women have the capacity to grow and develop and aspire to spiritual greatness, not just prophets, not just apostles, not just office holders, but that all men and women have the ability to become God-like. And so Joseph Smith's effort was to take the people and bring them with him. I think it's hard to capture simply what Joseph Smith's appeal was. It's clear, I think there is something charisma, and Joseph Smith had tremendous power over people. So people who came into his presence were moved. They were convicted. They were convinced that what he said had divine power.
In Kirtland, Joseph pictured more than a bustling city. He envisioned a community of good people focused on righteous principles and helping one another. He called the people saints.
I am a lover of the cause of Christ, and of virtue, chastity, and an upright, steady course of conduct and holy walk. Joseph Smith.
They were called saints because they understood themselves to be saints in the same way that the early Christians were saints. The early Christians were called saints. And so they were saints in the latter days. This is a reflection of their understanding of Mormonism as the Church of Jesus Christ.
Joseph taught that care for the poor and needy was part of the process of making saints. He instituted a sharing of resources among the members to care for the stream of converts coming into Kirtland. To Joseph, this consecration was the means to ensure that every man who has need may be amply supplied, though at the time the Mormons hardly had a plow among them.
Now for a man to consecrate his property to the Lord is nothing more nor less than to feed the hungry, clothe the naked, visit the widow and fatherless, the sick and afflicted, and do all he can to administer to their relief in their afflictions, and for him and his house to serve the Lord. Joseph Smith.
The early Latter-day Saints were committed to taking care of anyone who came their way. There was not any formal distinction between rich and poor, between educated and uneducated. There was not a divorce between spirituality and material reality. And so one didn't just talk religion. One practiced it, one built communities. And for that reason, I think people who heard a lot of different religious options found this very compelling.
Local authorities charged that the town was being burdened by an insupportable weight of pauperism and ordered the Mormons to leave.
The vice of Mormonism must be accounted one of the most palpable and widespread delusions which this country has ever seen, and nothing can equal the zeal of their leaders in its propagation. Truman Coe.
Merchants boycotted Mormon businesses, even refused to grind their grain. But their efforts did not stem Mormon immigration, nor did it arrest the zeal of the faithful.
We began to talk about the kingdom of God as if we had the whole world at our command. We talked with great confidence and talked big things. We talked about the people, that they should come bending to the standard of Jesus. When God sets up a system of salvation, he sets up a system of government that shall rule over temporal and spiritual affairs. Sidney Rigdon.
Joseph's next step in unfolding the new religion was to build another community in Independence, Missouri, what was then the farthest fringe of America.
God designated to me and others the very spot upon which he designed to commence the work of the gathering, and the upbuilding of an holy city which should be called Zion. Zion because it is a place of righteousness, and all who build thereon are to worship the true and living God, and believe in the doctrine of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Joseph Smith.
On the second day of August, Brother Joseph Smith, Jr., the prophet of God, assisted the Colesville branch to lay the first log as a foundation for Zion in Cott Township, 12 miles west of Independence. This was truly a season of joy and rejoicing to all the saints. Newell K. Whitney.
They went by wagon, canal boat, stage, and steamer, walking the final stretch to independence. For the next 7 years, Joseph and other church leaders would shuttle the nearly 900 miles between the two settlements to direct the efforts of the Ohio and Missouri communities.
It was revealed that Jackson County, Missouri was the center place to become a new Zion, a new Jerusalem from which Christ would rule and reign when he returned to the earth. And so from that point forward, Missouri was a sacred land, a promised place, a Zion, to whom the faithful would be called to raise up temples unto God.
That's the part of Mormonism that I like. That event was required. You simply did not believe in your heart and wait for the Lord to save you, but you sold your goods, you got in a wagon with your family, and you went to the place where the holy city was to be erected, and there made a life in a new society.
The Mormons did not mix well in the independent culture of the frontier. They believed the land had been given to them by God. They preached to the Indians. They held no slaves. They shared their resources rather than trading with the locals. Such practices enraged their neighbors.
The Mormons came into the New Jerusalem in large numbers, community organized, and overnight they built farms. They started a printing press. They were planning a store, whereas the people coming from the upper south would try to clear land and work with 3 or 4 sons for 15 or 20 years before they had any real success. And for them to see the Mormons taking over the land pretty much and making it blossom almost overnight that was galling to them. And also, of course, there was the political dimension. In their numbers and organization, they represented a political bloc that could do anything they wanted.
In just a few years, the Mormons would be forced to move from Zion to the northern counties of Missouri.
The saints did not always use wisdom. They move into this new area. They find people living there who don't share their values and their way of living. And they make comments like this: well, we're moving in here. We're the people of God. We're the chosen people. This land has been given to us as our land, a promised land. You may stay here, but eventually this will be our property.
Opposition was mounting in Ohio as well. As quickly as some joined the church, they left. These dissenters took issue with the way the prophet unfolded the new faith and its church practices. To distance themselves from the conflict, the Smiths moved in with the Johnson family in nearby Hiram. But the quiet of the farm was quickly shattered. On a March night, 1832, a mob dragged Joseph and Sidney Rigdon from their beds to a nearby field, beat them, tarred and feathered their bodies, and tried to force poison down Joseph's throat.
Call on your God for help. We'll show you no mercy.
Joseph staggered home, presenting a terrifying sight at the door. Seeing Joseph coated with what she thought was blood, Emma fainted. His friends spent a long night scraping and picking the tar from his skin. Little Joseph, one of their adopted twins, would die from a chill contracted the evening of the assault.
With my flesh all scarified and defaced, I preached to the congregation as usual Sunday, and in the afternoon of the same day, baptized 3 individuals. Joseph Smith.
Joseph's friends indicated that some of the men in the assembly that morning had been in the mob the night before.
Now, I would not paint Joseph Smith in pastel colors. He was a radical preacher of extreme ideas, very powerful ideas, which had tremendous appeal. He called people to extreme ways of living, dependent upon his authority, because he believed God was speaking in new and profoundly different ways.
Joseph had a wonderful gift, and the gift he had was to see the potential of the Bible. The Bible is filled with religious possibilities that the religion of his time, either Protestant or Catholic, had not fully developed. It's filled with prophets who received revelations. Joseph said, I am another of those prophets. It speaks of a new Jerusalem that will be built. Joseph said, we will build the new Jerusalem. In a Bible culture, to use those powerful Bible words and make them literal enabled the people of his time not just to read the Bible, but to live it.
Amid the tumult, Joseph was pronouncing what he said were revelations from God to direct the church and its people. Joseph declared it was an awful responsibility to write in the name of the Lord.
You know no more concerning the destinies of this church and kingdom than a babe upon its mother's lap. You don't comprehend it, but this church will fill North and South America. It will fill the world. Joseph Smith.
Joseph also claimed that by revelation he was revising parts of the King James Bible. He contended important points touching the salvation of man had been taken or lost from the Bible before it was compiled.
What Joseph Smith found was that people appealed to Scripture and came to diverse, often opposite conclusions. His solution was that he said that he had new revelation from heaven.
The Bible was a powerful book, but revelation trumps the Bible. Joseph felt that he had the authority to actually change the words of the Bible by force of his own revelation. He added long passages coming through Revelation 2. So for Mormons in his time and today, the revelation is what they heed above all.
In 1833, Joseph founded the School of the Prophets to prepare missionaries to teach the gospel. Its curriculum included the study of history, political science, languages, literature, and theology. Bothered by studying spiritual matters in a cloud of smoke and prompted by Emma, who had to clean a floor splattered with tobacco juice, Joseph asked God for guidance. He then communicated to his followers the word of wisdom. This health code forbade the use of tobacco, wine, strong drink, and hot drinks, which were understood to be coffee and tea. It also stressed eating of vegetables, fruits, and grains. Joseph kept a busy pace. On one occasion, after completing business in Missouri, Joseph and several others were returning to Ohio when the stagecoach horses bolted and the men were forced to jump free. Newell K. Whitney's leg and foot were caught in the spokes of the wheel and badly broken. The others went on while the prophet, for 4 weeks, cared for his injured friend until he could travel. He had time to himself.
Dear Emma, I have visited a grove which is just back of the town almost every day, where I can be secluded from the eyes of any mortal, and there give vent to all the feelings of my heart. In meditation and prayer, I have called to mind all the past moments of my life, and am left to mourn and shed tears of sorrow for my folly. God is my friend. In him I shall find comfort. Joseph Smith.
I saw the imperfections in Joseph Smith. I thanked God that he would put upon a man who had those imperfections the power and authority he placed upon him. For I knew that I myself had weaknesses, and I thought there was a chance for me. Lorenzo Snow.
Normally, a prophet is short-lived if he just stands on a street corner with a repentance sign. People come by and they smile. The effective ones from Moses on form a community right away. They have a sense of a divine mandate. Moses sees a bush burn but not be consumed. He hears a voice. You have stood on holy ground, and now you must test it and you must spread it.
American Prophet, the story of Joseph Smith, will return in a moment. To obtain a videotape copy of this program,
I love those people there. They have a certain quality that's...
In December 1832, following the pattern of biblical times, Joseph announced the building of a temple. He said it had been revealed to him that it was to be a house of prayer, a house of fasting, a house of faith, a house of God. Its construction would make it possible for the saints to be what Joseph called endowed with power from on high. The temple cost about $50,000, a great sacrifice for a people sharing their food to stay alive.
Come, brethren, let us go into the stone quarry and work for the Lord. Joseph Smith.
Without revelation, Joseph could not know what was wanted any more than any other man. And without commandment, the church were too few in number, too weak in faith, and too poor in purse to attempt such a mighty enterprise. Brigham Young.
Nothing was spared in the effort. When Joseph outlined what was needed in terms of skill and artistry, Heber C. Kimball said he knew someone who could do the job, but the man lived in Canada and was not a member of the church. Joseph dispatched Brigham Young to convert Artemus Millet and then bring him to Kirtland. He added that Millet should also bring $1,000 to assist with the project. Weeks later, Brigham, Artemus, and the money arrived in Kirtland.
there was but one mainspring to all our thoughts and actions, and that was the building of the Lord's house. Lucy Mack Smith.
When they were willing to sacrifice, first to be there in that community, and secondly, to give up all sorts of material things to build, for that day and age in that small community, a magnificent edifice. It really was proof that their faith was more than skin deep, that they believed.
Women wanted to participate as much as men in the construction of that holy edifice. And so they did whatever they could do. They raised whatever money was available. They would sell things. Many of them, we read in their diaries, gave up priceless heirlooms and sold them in order to buy materials to build the temple.
For people who became Latter-day Saints, the world would never be the same. The world they had known before was gone.
The Kirtland Temple became, for most, the highlight of their spiritual and religious life. They felt amply rewarded ultimately at its dedication and thereafter for the sacrifice that went into it.
To add luster to the outside, stories describe the women offering their china to be crushed and mixed into the plaster and then applied to the temple walls.
Our wives were all the time knitting, spinning, and sewing, and in fact, I may say, doing all kinds of work. They were just as busy as any of us, and God will bless them forevermore. Heber C. Kimball.
Through the winter of 1836, saints labored to complete the temple despite hostility from the disaffected members and militant townspeople. One worker described holding the sword in one hand, the trowel in the other. That March, they completed the temple and held special services in the new edifice. Joseph told the saints that the Lord would appear and accept his house and the sacrifice of the people.
The ceremonies of that dedication may be rehearsed, but no mortal language can describe the heavenly manifestations of that memorable day. Eliza R. Snow.
The temple was filled with angels, which fact I declared to the congregation. The people of the neighborhood came running together, hearing an unusual sound within, and seeing a bright light like a pillar of fire resting upon the temple, and were astonished at what was taking place. Joseph Smith.
A little girl came to my door, and in wonder called me out, exclaiming, "The meeting is on the top of the meeting house." I went to the door, and there I saw on the temple angels clothed in white, covering the roof from end to end. This was in broad daylight, in the afternoon. Crescendia Huntington.
3 days later, Joseph and Oliver prayed with their fellow saints in the temple.
Joseph opened the meeting by prayer. Never until then had I heard a man address his Maker as though he was present listening. There was no ostentation, no raising of the voice as by enthusiasm, but a plain conversational tone. It appeared to me as though I could see the Lord standing facing his humblest of all servants I had ever seen. Whether this was really the case, I cannot say. But one thing I can say, it was the crowning of all the prayers I ever heard. Daniel Tyler.
In contrast to the outpouring of spiritual jubilation, came challenges to Joseph and his work from disenchanted factions. Among the defectors were apostles, witnesses to the Book of Mormon, and members who had at one time praised his name.
The knees of many of the strongest men in the church faltered. Brigham Young.
These individuals saw themselves somewhat as peers of the prophet. And it was easy for them, if things didn't go their way, to begin to say, well, maybe Joseph's missing it a little bit. He's not as in tune as he ought to be, and we're right. Joseph learned as he went.
I guess prophets have to see ahead, but when you're in the midst of a project, when everything seems to be falling apart, when there's so much day-to-day business of holding things together, to have a vision that carries you beyond that, that's a very difficult trait of a personality, and I think Joseph Smith had that.
Defections did not deter Joseph. He wrote that in this state of things, God revealed to me that something new must be done for the salvation of his children. On July 4th, Joseph asked trusted friend and apostle Heber C. Kimball to go to England on a mission to preach the gospel.
The idea of being appointed to such an important mission was almost more than I could bear up under. I felt my weakness and was nearly ready to sink under it. But the moment I understood the will of my Heavenly Father, I felt a determination to go at all hazards. Heber C. Kimball.
At 10 a.m. on July 30th, 1837, they baptized 9 members. When I heard of it, it gave me great joy, for then I knew that the work of God had taken root in that land. Joseph Smith.
Within 8 months, 2,000 British citizens had joined the new church. To finance some of the needs of the burgeoning church and community, Joseph and his advisors had established a bank named the Kirtland Safety Society. When the state of Ohio denied the charter in February 1837, the bank's notes became worthless. Losses to its subscribers were legion. Many in Kirtland blamed Joseph for their losses and joined a growing chorus calling him a fallen prophet.
The enemy abroad and apostates in our midst united in their schemes. And many became disaffected toward me as though I were the sole cause of those very evils I was most strenuously striving against. Joseph Smith.
Disillusioned Mormons denounced the prophet. Friends repudiated his leadership. Other enemies circulated attacks in papers and pamphlets.
Church leaders seemed to think that everything must bow at their nod, thus violating the laws of the land. William McClelland.
One of the problems is they did believe in many cases. They believed in the Book of Mormon. They believed in priesthood authority restored. They believed Joseph had been a prophet, but they believed that in some fashion he had fallen. And so they couldn't leave it alone. They wanted to right the church. They wanted to rebuild it in their image of what it ought to have become instead of what it was.
Someone has observed that people can leave the church, but they can't leave it alone. And the worst persecutors of Joseph Smith were invariably those who had first been his associates and then had left his side and turned on him.
A new year dawned upon the church in Kirtland in all the bitterness of the spirit of apostate mobocracy, which continued to rage and grow hotter and hotter, until Elder Rigdon and myself were obliged to flee from its deadly influence, as did the apostles and prophets of old. As Jesus said, "When they persecute you in one city, flee to another." Joseph Smith.
The faithful trailed behind. That summer, a mile-long wagon train moved slowly out of Kirtland and headed for Missouri. Hundreds of saints left behind their temple, their businesses, their farms. Some left family as they followed Joseph to the farthest edge of America.
What the Lord will do with us, I know not. Although he slay me, I will trust in him. We are like the ancients, wandering from place to place in the wilderness. John Smith.
Joseph arrived in the new Mormon settlement in northern Missouri to cheers from the saints. Settlement in Missouri had not been easy. As Kirtland refugees and new converts poured into far west and surrounding communities, the population swelled to more than 5,000. 4,900 were Mormon. In the months ahead, Joseph designated a temple site and declared the religion's official name to be the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
War clouds began again to lower with dark and threatening aspect. Those who had combined against the laws in the adjoining counties had long watched our increasing power and prosperity with jealousy and with greedy and avaricious eyes. It was a common boast that, as soon as we had completed our extensive improvements and made a plentiful crop, they would drive us from the state and once more enrich themselves with the spoil. Harley P. Pratt.
Mormon leaders served notice that if the law would not protect them, they would protect themselves.
We have not only, when smitten on one cheek, turned the other, but we have done it again and again until we are wearied of being smitten. That mob that comes on us to disturb us, it shall be between us and them a war of extermination. Sidney Rigdon.
Our plowshares have been turned into swords, and the Mormon War is the all-engrossing topic of conversation. Even politics is submerged in the deafening sound of the drum and the din of arms. The Jeffersonian Republican.
As they gathered together in these communities, they did not socialize, and when possible, didn't commercialize with the local folks. And therefore, buying from one another, voting together as a bloc, and not integrating themselves in the community automatically set up tensions and suspicions that were very difficult to overcome.
In late October, Missouri Governor Boggs issued an extermination order which authorized the militia to increase its force and operate against the Mormons.
The Mormons must be treated as enemies and must be exterminated or driven from the state, if necessary, for the public good. Their outrages are beyond all description. Lilburn Boggs, Governor, Missouri.
The mobs began to gather in various places and commenced their hostilities, so much so that we were obliged to shoulder our guns and stand guard night and day. It continued to get worse and worse until finally Governor Boggs issued his extermination order and the prophet Joseph was taken prisoner, and we were obliged to lay down our arms. I obeyed this order because it was Joseph's counsel for us to do so, although I felt at the time I would rather have fought them. Joseph Holm.
Latter-day Saints were barred from voting in Gallatin, which led to altercations at other Mormon communities. The outpost at Hawn's Mill was pillaged, and 17 saints were brutally gunned down. Farms and homes burned, women assaulted. Some 3,000 Missouri militia called up to crush the Mormons circled the settlement. Their numbers overwhelmed the saints. Among the opposition's forces were former Mormon faithful who had crossed over to join Missourians. Joseph Smith, Sidney Rigdon, Parley P. Pratt, and others were lured to a peace conference only to be arrested and dragged to jail.
As for your leaders, do not think, do not imagine for a moment, do not let it enter your minds that they will be delivered or that you will see their faces again. For their fate is fixed, their die is cast, their doom is sealed. General John B. Clark.
Missouri Militia General Samuel D. Lucas, acting under authority of the governor, ordered the prisoners shot in the morning. Alexander Donovan, the militia officer charged with the execution, defied the order.
It is cold-blooded murder. I will not obey your order. My brigade shall march for liberty tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. And if you execute these men, I will hold you responsible before an earthly tribunal. So help me God. Alexander Donovan.
The prisoners were shuttled from courtrooms to jail cells, first to Independence, then to Richmond, and finally to Liberty.
Joseph was a very remarkable man. I carried him into my house a prisoner in chains, and in less than 2 hours, my wife loved him better than she did me. General Moses Wilson.
Joseph and his fellow captives were denied common courtesies, fed filthy food, and exposed to freezing temperatures.
Dear Joseph, rolling rivers, running streams, rising hills, sinking valleys, and spreading prairies that separate us. Places my feelings far beyond description. But I still live, and am yet willing to suffer more if it is the will of heaven that I should for your sake. Emma Smith.
Dear Emma, I very well know your toils and sympathize with you. If God will spare my life once more to have the privilege of taking care of you, I will ease your care and endeavor to comfort your heart. Joseph Smith.
The guards in the Richmond jail taunted the prisoners with curses and boasts of raping and murdering the Mormons. Finally, Joseph rose to his feet and rebuked them.
Silence, ye fiends of the infernal pit! In the name of Jesus Christ, I rebuke you and command you to be still. I will not live another minute and hear such language. Cease such talk, or you or I die this instant.
Chained and without a weapon, calm, unruffled, and dignified as an angel, Joseph looked upon the quailing guards, whose weapons were lowered or dropped to the ground, whose knees smote together, and who, shrinking into a corner or crouching at his feet, begged his pardon and remained quiet until a change of guards. I have seen the ministers of justice clothed in magisterial robes, and criminals arraigned before them in the courts of England. I have witnessed a Congress in solemn session to give laws to nations. I have tried to conceive of kings, of royal courts, of thrones and crowns. But dignity and majesty I have seen but once, as it stood in chains at midnight in a dungeon in an obscure village in Missouri. Parley P. Pratt.
Joseph was in jail, his future uncertain. Again, the Mormons faced exile, having lost their homes and their investments. Many lost their lives. Rather than dispersing, the core of Latter-day Saints followed Brigham Young in a ragged retreat from Missouri to Illinois and safety.
There was but one course now open for the Mormons, and that was to make their escape with the utmost expedition. John P. Green.
For Joseph's wife, Emma, the exodus was particularly wearing. With her 4 little children, she crossed the frozen Mississippi on foot in search of refuge. Under the folds of her skirt were 2 sacks containing Joseph's manuscripts of the revisions of the Bible.
Dear Joseph, no one knows but God the reflections of my mind and the feelings of my heart when I left our house and home, and almost all of everything that we possessed, excepting our little children, and took my journey out of the state of Missouri, leaving you shut up in that lonesome prison. I hope there are better days to come to us yet. Emma Smith.
Joseph, Hiram, and the handful of friends were confined for the winter in Liberty Jail. Certainly the name did not suit their conditions. Below their cell was a dark, damp cellar, a dungeon of sorts where they were forced to spend their days. Cold seeped through the walls, and there was no bedding. When Joseph wrote Emma asking for a blanket, she replied that the mob had stripped their quarters of all they had, including the quilts.
O God, where art thou? And where is the pavilion that covereth thy hiding place? How long shall thy hand be stayed? Joseph Smith.
Joseph described the answer to his pleadings as a revelation from God with these words: Thine adversity and thine affliction shall be but a small moment. And then if thou endure it well, God shall exalt thee on high. Thou shalt triumph over all thy foes. Thy friends do stand by thee, and they shall hail thee again with warm hearts and friendly hands. One of those friends was his brother Hiram.
I could pray in my heart that all my brethren were like unto my beloved brother Hiram. For truly he possesses the mildness of a lamb and the integrity of Job, and in short, the meek and quiet spirit of Jesus Christ. And I love him with that love that is stronger than death. Joseph Smith.
I had been abused and thrust into a dungeon and confined for months on account of my faith and the testimony of Jesus Christ. However, I thank God that I felt a determination to die rather than deny the things which my eyes had seen, which my hands had handled, and which I had borne testimony to, wherever my lot had been cast. Hiram Smith.
The bond between Joseph and Hiram is one of those great epics, I think, in all of religious history.
After almost half a year in jail, the prisoners were granted a change of venue. They had been held illegally with no official sentencing. The guards during the transfer were careless, perhaps purposely, allowing the prisoners to bolt.
We thought it a favorable opportunity to make our escape. Joseph Smith.
They joined the saints who had been sheltered by citizens in the riverfront town of Quincy, Illinois.
I cried, "Lord, what will you have me to do?" And the answer was, "Build up a city and call my saints to this place." Joseph Smith.
He goes to Liberty Jail, and you might say a broken man, torn from his children, torn from his people. And I would think mystified why the saints had to suffer when their whole purpose in that time was to carry out God's will.
Liberty Jail provided months of forced meditation. It gave him the opportunity to sort out what had gone wrong, what needed to be done yet, and how to get it accomplished.
In Liberty Jail, he regained his confidence, saw a new vision of what was going to happen, and emerged re-strengthened, able to go forward and construct Nauvoo, his greatest city.
Joseph again took up his cause born years before in an illuminated grove in New York and reaffirmed in the damp of Liberty Jail. He purchased a sparsely settled swampland on the Mississippi and named it Nauvoo, Hebrew for beautiful city. The Illinois legislature granted a liberal city charter, giving broad authority to the new colony. For a time, the saints found respite from their persecutors, but they immediately faced illness and disease.
Many lay sick along the bank of the river. Joseph healed all the sick that lay in his path. Among the number was Henry G. Sherwood, who was nigh unto death. Joseph stood in the door of his tent and commanded him, in the name of Jesus Christ, to arise and come out of his tent. And he obeyed him and was healed. Wilford Woodruff.
New members converted in the growing missionary effort in England, Canada, and the eastern states started pouring into Nauvoo.
In speaking of the gathering, we want all honest men to have a chance to gather and build up a city of righteousness, where even upon the bells of the horses shall be written, "Holiness to the Lord." Joseph Smith.
We had come afoot 1,000 miles. We lay in bushes and in barns and outdoors and traveled until there was a frost just like a snow, and we had to walk on that frost. Jane James.
I could see one person who towered away and above all the others around. Before I was aware of it, he came to me, and when he took my hand, I was simply electrified. The one thought that filled my soul was, I have seen the prophet of God. He is taking me by the hand. Emmeline Blanche Wells.
I could not help noticing that he dressed, talked, and acted like other men, and in every respect appeared exactly the opposite of what I had conjured up in my imagination a prophet to be. Boston B.
People had a perception of a prophet that was perhaps unreal. They'd never met one. They didn't know that a prophet was both divinely directed and very much a human being.
It was difficult for people to understand how Joseph could go out and pull sticks, play ball with the boys, and then go in and dictate a revelation. But that said more about the expectations and the mindset of people who came into the faith than it did about what a prophet really is.
Followers described Joseph as engaging, cheerful, a man of gentlemanly bearing. He stood 6 feet tall and weighed 200 pounds. He had light brown hair and penetrating blue eyes. A politician remarked to his wife, "He is what you ladies would call a very good-looking man." Said one woman convert, "The love the saints had for Joseph was inexpressible." His enemies called him a common impostor, a rogue.
The envy and wrath of man have been my common lot all the days of my life. Deep water is what I am wont to swim in. Joseph Smith.
It is easy to see Joseph Smith as a fraud, as a charlatan, as a schemer, as a plotter. That just means that you don't like what he was trying to teach and trying to do.
Nauvoo developed quickly, becoming the largest city in the state. Before long, the Mormons made up half the population of Hancock County. Joseph laid out the city, reserving the bluff overlooking the Mississippi for a temple. Up and down the streets, shops opened for business. Blacksmiths, tanners, coopers, a bakery, even a bonnet maker. There were sawmills and grist mills, a gunsmith, a printing office, and a cast iron foundry. Joseph ran a dry goods store, though he was not much of a businessman. While goods streamed out of his store, the procession was more an indicator of the proprietor's largesse than his business acumen.
In the history of the whole world, there cannot be found such another instance of so rapid a rise of a city out of the wilderness. A city so well built, a territory so well cultivated. J.H. Buckingham.
The New York Herald in 1842 described Joseph and his church as a spiritual system combined also with morals and industry that may change the destiny of the race. Joseph's efforts were ambitious. He sought recompense from the federal government for the losses in Missouri, formed his own military force, the Nauvoo Legion, issued a newspaper, and joined the newly formed Masonic Lodge. He sent his trusted apostles to England to preach the gospel and gather the converts. And he declared his candidacy for President of the United States.
I don't know if Joseph Smith ever thought he could be elected president. That would be a bold leap. But I think it was one way he felt that, if nothing else, the Latter-day Saints and other persecuted minorities could bring their concerns to a larger public.
I was at Joseph's, and several men were sitting on the fence. Joseph came out and spoke to us all. Pretty soon a man came up and said that a poor brother who lived out some distance from town had had his house burned down the night before. Nearly all of the men said they felt sorry for the man. Joseph put his hand in his pocket, took out $5 and said, "I feel sorry for this brother to the amount of $5. How much do you feel sorry?" Andrew Workman.
I never wanted him to go into the garden to work, for if he did, it would not be 15 minutes before there would be 3 or 4 or sometimes a half a dozen men round him, and they would tramp the ground down faster than he could hoe it up. Emma Smith.
Joseph established a women's organization called the Female Relief Society. While many benevolent societies flourished in the country, Joseph envisioned this society as uniquely positioned to relieve the poor and to save souls. His wife Emma was named its president.
Its duties to others are to seek out and relieve the distressed, that each member should be ambitious to do good, deal frankly with each other, and be very careful of the character and reputation of the members. Emma Smith.
It gave the women, for the first time in the early years of the church, an ecclesiastical identity, which they had not really experienced before. They came together, were identified as members of the Relief Society. The prophet Joseph gave them a charter, not only to do charitable work, but to save souls.
The centerpiece of Joseph's Nauvoo was the temple. The design of the gray limestone structure included crescent moonstones, sunstones, 5-pointed stars, a belfry, and a gold-crowned clock tower. The saints tithed 1/10 of their time to its construction.
It is expected to be considerably larger than the one in Kirtland, and on a more magnificent scale. If it should be the will of God, that I might live to behold that temple completed and finished from the foundation to the top stone, I will say, O Lord, it is enough. Lord, let thy servant depart in peace. Joseph Smith.
The temple idea is truly remarkable. There are so few immediate precedents. You have to go back to the Bible, really, to find a temple of the kind Joseph was interested in. But almost immediately, within a year after the church was organized, he laid plans to build a temple. And thereafter, his undeviating course was to create cities and build temples. That temple was at the very heart of Mormon worship.
In anticipation of the temple's completion, Joseph administered to a selected few sacred priesthood rites. He also united families, husbands, wives, and children in a ceremony he promised was binding for all eternity. He called it sealing. Joseph said this holy work to join heaven and earth had been revealed to him by God.
Whatsoever you seal on earth shall be sealed in heaven, and whatsoever you bind on earth in my name and by my word, it shall be eternally bound in the heavens.
He taught me many great and glorious principles concerning God and the heavenly order of eternity. It was from him that I learned that the wife of my bosom might be secured to me for time and all eternity. Parley P. Pratt.
As an expansion of his teaching that marriage could last through the eternities, Joseph introduced a few trusted friends to the added concept of a plurality of wives as practiced by Abraham and other ancient prophets. What he termed the new and everlasting covenant included both monogamous marriage and plural marriage. Joseph was also sealed to more than one wife. The plural marriage aspect sparked accusations of carnal lust and heightened antagonism against the Mormons. Even some Mormons were troubled.
I was not desirous of shrinking from any duty, nor of failing the least to do as I was commanded. But it was the first time in my life that I had desired the grave, and I could hardly get over it for a long time. And when I saw a funeral, I felt to envy the corpse its situation, and to regret that I was not in the coffin. Brigham Young.
With my husband, it was my privilege to meet with Brother Joseph, and I heard the prophet give instructions concerning plural marriage. He counseled the sisters present not to be troubled in consequence of this law, that many would be called to live, that all would be right, and the result would be for their glory and exaltation. Bathsheba Smith.
It mattereth not whether the principle is popular or unpopular. I will always maintain a true principle, even if I stand alone in it. Joseph Smith.
Plural marriage was practiced less than 50 years, and yet it had a lasting impact. Folks came eventually to identify Latter-day Saints with polygamy in a way that even today, sometimes the first question asked is, how many wives do you have? And yet Latter-day Saints have not practiced polygamy for 100 years. It had a powerful impact in separating us, in drawing up boundaries, in making Latter-day Saints a people apart in a way that has persisted as a core part of our identity.
By far, the majority of the church did not practice plural marriage. We can only look at their diaries and reminiscences and some temple records to get a figure. But the majority of those who did practice it accepted the doctrine after it was introduced publicly to the church in Utah in 1852.
All we know is that everyone who was asked to live it found it a terrible shock. It stung them, and yet the most faithful of his followers went along.
Religious traditions come into existence through pain and exhilaration at the same time. And the story of Joseph Smith is a story of both pain and exhilaration.
Joseph held most of the posts of influence in Nauvoo. In addition to his religious role, he was the mayor, chief justice, lieutenant general of the Nauvoo Legion, publisher and regent of the university.
The prophet had a great many callers or visitors, doctors, lawyers, priests, and people seemed anxious to get a good look at what was then considered something very wonderful. A man who should dare to call himself a prophet, announce himself as a seer and ambassador of the Lord. I could clearly see that Joseph was the captain, no matter whose company he was in. Howard Corey.
I think the most significant thing about Joseph Smith's theology, or his teachings, is that he offered for the people of the frontier in the 19th century a knowledge of where they had come from, what their purpose of life was, and where they could go in the eternities and what they could become. And I think for those people it was tremendously significant to have a destiny, a divine destiny.
His people called him Brother Joseph. Said one woman convert, to him there were no strangers, and by all he was known as the prophet and a friend of humanity.
Joseph came to a large crowd of young men who were wrestling. Among the boys, there was a bully from the harp. He had thrown everyone on the ground who took hold of him. When Joseph came to the crowd, he went into the ring to take part with the boys in their games. The first pass he made, Joseph whirled him around and took him by the collar and seat of his trousers and walked him to a ditch and threw him in. Then, taking him by the arm, he helped him up and said, "You must not mind this. When I'm with the boys, I make all the fun I can for them." Calvin W. Moore.
As we were going home on the little boat, Brother Joseph sat on the upper deck with the company gathered around him, listening to his wonderful words. My father sat opposite him, so near that their knees almost touched. I, a little girl, being tired and sleepy, my pa took me in his arms to rest. Brother Joseph stopped speaking and took my feet on his knees, and when I would have drawn them away, he said, "No, let me hold them. You will rest better." Mary Ann Winters.
While Joseph's popularity grew among his people, so did the animosity of his enemies. Newspaper claims that Nauvoo may soon outrival any city in the West, no doubt angered sponsors of competing communities. The upstart Mormon city was viewed by its neighbors as not only a den for odd religionists, but a threat to their river trade and related economic enterprises.
Should the inherent corruption of Mormonism fail to develop sufficiently to convince its followers of their error, where will the thing end? The New York Sun, September 4th, 1842.
I think people became very afraid of the political implications of someone who did not brook other authority and had control over the population, and people were very afraid of those kind of implications.
Joseph breached one of the sacred lines in American political culture of his time. He joined the powers of church and state. He claimed to be a prophet, to speak from God, to command men's consciences, their understanding of the world, and at the same time he liberally accepted offices of mayor, leader of his city. And for Americans, that combination of religious and political power was just explosive. They could not abide it.
Some of his most strident detractors were his former close confidants and followers.
We, the undersigned, feeling ourselves aggrieved by the conduct of Joseph Smith and others of the leaders of the Church of Latter-day Saints, and feeling that we have been most scandalously imposed upon in matters and things of a divine character, wish publicly to withdraw from said church and no longer claim allegiance thereto. Sangamo Journal.
It was a high-demand religion. It required a great deal of sacrifice and dedication. And some folks tired of that and wandered off, or some folks tired of it and tried to find another way to be Mormon without being so committed. But the other reason is that it changed. Joseph had a very ambitious program. At every stage of innovation, somebody said, "Wait, That's not what I bought into.
Time and again, Joseph watched friends desert him. W. Phelps, early convert and church officer and close friend, had been charged by church members with misuse of funds. He became a bitter enemy of the church and of Joseph. He even had signed his name to the affidavit that put Joseph in Liberty Jail. Yet Phelps later had a change of heart and petitioned to rejoin the church in Nauvoo.
Believing your confession to be real and your repentance genuine, I shall be happy once again to give you the right hand of fellowship and rejoice over the returning. Come on, dear brother, since the war is past. For friends at first are friends again at last. Joseph Smith.
Joseph's preaching always drew a crowd. He talked of the nature of God and the importance of priesthood power. He could discourse for hours on the purpose of life, the destiny of men and women, the second coming of Christ. And he described eternity as if it were in the grasp of everyone.
Sectarian priests cry out concerning me and ask, why is it this babbler gains so many followers and retains them? I answer, it is because I possess the principle of love. All I can offer the world is a good heart and a good hand. Joseph Smith.
He had ability to lead people with a charisma that was born of the Spirit and born of goodness. And those who stood closest to him in the leadership of the church saw that goodness, and they sensed that he had the capacity to bring a people to greater heights, to lead them to greater spiritual heights than they'd ever attained before.
I've called Joseph Smith a popular genius because he was a person very unschooled, in a sense, very little formal education, and yet it was clear that his ability to comprehend religious ideas was enormous.
From the time of his boyhood until the time he died, he was driven, he was hounded, he was persecuted, he was pursued, but he went forth courageously, adding a convert here, a convert there, organizing the church, establishing his doctrine. I reverence him, I respect him, I admire him, I honor him as the great American prophet, if you please.
In Illinois, as in Ohio and Missouri, anger and resentment festered at first and then gathered strength. Residents from neighboring communities met in Carthage in the fall of 1843 to voice their grievances regarding what they called the pretended prophet of the Lord.
Such an individual cannot fail to become a most dangerous character, especially when he shall have been able to place himself at the head of a numerous horde, either equally reckless and unprincipled as himself, or else made his pliant tools by the most absurd credulity that has astonished the world since its foundation. Edson Whitney, Carthage Committee.
This deluded, fanatical, and ignorant sect is about to be poured upon us by thousands. And thus, like the locusts of Egypt, consume every green thing in the land and wither away, so far as they can, every vestige of godliness. There is not only in this village, but all through the country, a strong disinclination to live near the Mormons. Reverend B.F. Morris, Warsaw Signal.
Joseph remained resolute, predicting the persecutions would continue, and his people would be driven from Nauvoo to the Rocky Mountains.
No unhallowed hand can stop the work from progressing. Persecutions may rage, mobs may combine, armies may assemble, calumny may defame, but the truth of God will go forth boldly, nobly and independent, till it has penetrated every continent, visited every clime, swept every country, and sounded in every ear, till the purposes of God shall be accomplished, and the great Jehovah shall say the work is done. Joseph Smith.
public passion accelerated in early summer 1844 as the anti-Mormons banded with the Mormon defectors, some of them former members of Joseph's inner circle.
Joe Smith is not safe out of Nauvoo. We would not be surprised to hear of his death by violent means in a short time. He has deadly enemies. The feeling in this county is now lashed to its utmost pitch, and it will break forth in fury upon the slightest provocation. On a sharp Warsaw signal.
That provocation came quickly. On June 7th, the dissidents printed their first and only issue of the Nauvoo Expositor. Its columns accused Joseph of being one of the blackest and basest scoundrels that has appeared upon the stage of human existence, and his followers hell-deserving, God-forsaken villains. Nauvoo City Council retaliated by declaring the newspaper and its printing office a public nuisance and ordering the press destroyed.
The destruction of the Nauvoo Expositor was a spark in a tinder keg. It led immediately to an explosion. I think you do have to say that even if Joseph Smith trespassed on American sensibilities about freedom of the press, that did not license people to gun him down.
Mayor Joseph Smith declared martial law. But animosity had flared beyond the borders of his influence. Illinois Governor Thomas Ford intervened, issued an arrest warrant, and ordered Joseph to turn himself in at Carthage, the Hancock County seat. Joseph at first refused.
We dare not come. Writs, we are assured, are issued against us in various parts of the country. For what? To drag us from place to place, from court to court, across the creeks and prairies, till some bloodthirsty villain could find his opportunity to shoot us. We dare not come, though your excellency promises protection. Yet at the same time you have expressed fears that you could not control the mob, in which case we are left to the mercy of the merciless. Sir, you must not blame us, for a burnt child dreads the fire. Joseph Smith.
Raids on outlying Mormon settlements fed the discord. The saints began pouring into the city for protection. Fearing that mobs would next fall upon Nauvoo, Joseph, Hiram, and some close friends began the 26-mile journey